500,000 of every World War II army in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 is currently defending a beach invasion. These armies are on the cliffs of Normandy, and they've brought with them all of the strappings of World War II warfare to try and stop 10 million Roman soldiers from death charging in and taking over France. The World War II armies have even grounded a battleship in an attempt to get extra firepower on their beach defenses. Can they hold out against these 10 million Roman legionnaires charging them, or will they die trying? If you guys enjoy this video, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and let's go! What's up, gamers? I'm here to tell you about Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is an amazing place where you can get some fire deals on all sorts of video games. Seriously, it's like 60 to 95% off, as you can see here. These are all of the Star Wars titles they have. They literally have every Star Wars title. You can also get XCOM here, Men of War Assault Squad 2. All of the games I play on the channel you can buy here for extremely cheap prices. If you use my affiliate link in the description, it helps me out a ton. So thank you guys for listening to this sponsorship, and thank you to Instant Gaming for continuing to sponsor the channel. Alright boyos, pressing start and the Higgins boats begin to move on forward. So at the very front lines here, we have 150 M4 Sherman 76 tanks, and these guys are protecting shotgun units behind them. So close quarters combat right as the Higgins boats begin to land, and it looks like over here on the right side is where we're going to see the first of the Roman soldiers disembarking and attacking the beaches. And we've got all of the different Roman soldiers, of course, in this battle. We've got archers, we've got generals, we've got standard soldiers, we've got legionnaires, we've got Praetorian guards, we've got centurions, we've got auxiliary spearmen, etc., etc. We've got the whole enchilada coming on forward here. And the Shermans begin to pepper them with some good explosive fire. Now, when they come out of the Higgins boats, as you can see, they're not very grouped up. They're pretty spaced out, which is going to be very, very helpful for the Romans to avoid these explosive shots. Now, you'll also see at the top right the total kills and, of course, the troops remaining per usual. And if you know anything about Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2, you'll know that this map in particular is bugged, where soldiers disembarking from the boats sometimes die. It's like 1 in every 4 soldiers end up dying when they spawn from the boats. So, you know, that's going to be an easy 2.5 million kills for the World War II armies, simply due to the fact that the Roman troopers will be taking losses from the boats, probably because their armor is so heavy they're dragged under the waves and they can't swim out, or, you know, explosive fire hitting them before they even land, etc., etc. There's some lore reasons for it, of course, but it still remains a fact that a lot of the Roman troops will be dying due to that, which is a huge bonus for the World War II soldiers. Now, these Shermans are holding tight, and they've got really good armor, so hopefully they can stay here for quite some time and absorb some of this archer fire, as well as sword slashes and things like that as the Romans get forward, and that's going to protect the shotgun units back here. These guys with the trench shotguns spamming flechetta fire into the Roman troops just ahead of them. Where there aren't tanks, like over here, as you can see, the Romans are doing quite a bit better. We do, of course, have the World War II battleship back this way, and this thing should spam out some good fire. Right now, it appears to be quiet. There you go. Oh yeah, when it does finally reload and fire away, it clears an entire area of Roman troopers with one burst of its main guns right there. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm also seeing some shots coming in. Those have to be the German flak guns back there, because they're the only thing with that crazy of a range to hit from all the way back on the cliff walls. There's another shot going in over that way. It's always good to see a little bit more helpful Overwatch fire, I guess you could call it, from the back. There goes the World War II battleship again, spamming fire out, tossing Roman soldiers into the air. The Romans over here coming into the infantry uncontested by any type of armor, so these shotgun units are going to go down quite quickly over here, but at least they're going to be getting quite a number of kills in the process, which is exactly what we want to be seeing. The battleship over here is kind of tweaking a little bit as the Romans push it around, and it wastes an entire volley of shots into open sand. What are we doing, dude? Come on, take aim a little bit better, please. That's all I ask. What a shame. That is garbage. Okay, the Shermans are all dead, so now the Romans are death charging into the rest of these shotgun units down mid, who I'm sure will be going down rather quickly as well. Hopefully the battleship can stay alive for quite a while, but this early U.S. military defense of the beach is pretty much gonzo. But as we go further back, of course, Romans... Oh, little lag spike. Romans are going to start charging the cliff walls where we have our other armies. So we have Japanese riflemen here with their Arisaka rifles, and they are going to start firing right now. They're backed up by T-34s that the Ruskis have sent to the front lines over here, so they will have some HE fire as well as some nice armor in front of the Arisaka units to protect them from the Romans coming straight forward. So that's always a good thing over this way, and they go all the way back to this corner over here and all the way to over here. Then we have a nice blob here, which is starting to fire already, of German MP40 soldiers. And usually in the first attacks from enemies that are melee units, ranged units have trouble kind of reacting to that and actually positioning themselves to fire, and that seems to be one of the problems here, is that they're just not firing at these guys. But now, as they realize, oh, there are Romans here, they actually do start firing, and they are cutting down these legionnaires left and right with so much SMG fire from their MP40s. Some Roman arrows, though, are starting to enter into the picture over here, and they are impacting these MP40 troopers and doing some damage unto them, which is no bueno. Then, on the far left side, looks like our battleship finally died. By the way, whenever you spawn in the battleship, it always spawns this weird barricade with it. It's super derpy. It doesn't do anything on the battlefield, but that's what that is. We've got Russian soldiers with SKSs over this way. Over here, we've got German Kar-98K soldiers. We have flak guns again over this way. Then we should have some British gunners. Where are those boyos at? Is that these guys? Yeah, here we go. Oh, they're not the gunners. They're the Lee Enfield Brits here. I guess we decided against the gunners. Usually I bring the Bren gun, but I don't know why I brought the Lee Enfield. So we've got that. Either way, the MP40 troopers are getting dinged by quite a number of arrows. You can see they are a little bit damaged back here, and also some of the fire they're sending out might get reflected back at them. That is a feature in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2, so we might see a little bit of death from that as well. But overall, the World War II units are doing decent. They started with 500,000 soldiers. They're down to just over 300,000. Which is substantial losses they've taken. However, the American soldiers at the very front lines there, they did a very good job getting kills, but they were going to get killed very, very quickly no matter what. That was almost a guarantee with those fellas. They just did not have what it took to take on a straightforward assault like that. However, them having shotguns, the rest of this battlefield would not be very kind to them since it's so open, so we kind of had to have them up there with the Shermans to try and help protect. So that's where most of our 500,000 soldiers went off to. We are down to those 300,000 now again, and we have 8.7 million remaining Romans. So about 1.3 million have died so far. Right now, it is definitely true that the Romans are on track to win this thing. However, this is going to be their hardest task yet, going and attacking these areas here. This is where we're going to see if the World War II units have what it takes to actually stop the Romans, or if the Romans will continue to train wreck through them. Because again, the US soldiers up front were kind of just they were destined to die up there. We also have AT guns. Ah, here they are. Okay, I was curious where they went off to. Yeah, we've got some Zis's up here. I believe these are Zis 3s, right? I could be wrong. These could be... They're not Pack 43s, are they? Or are they... I think they're Zis guns. I think. In front of the Lee Enfield British soldiers over this way. So that's just another nice high explosive round that's going to be going into the cluster of Romans that are charging on in over here. Right now, the Romans are coming through, and just bit by bit, they are reaching the front lines, but not too crazy. Why don't we do our first time lapse over here and watch the British soldiers and their guns in front of them firing into the mass of Romans that are charging. Okay, so the Romans have reached the cliff walls over here for the Brits. Luckily, they're dying before they can really get up here very much, but they did take out those guns. The problem is if you put the guns behind the lines, then they're just going to get killed by archer fire and not get very many shots off, so it's usually optimized to put them in front in Ultimate Battle Simulator 2, even though it might not necessarily always make sense actually, like in what would happen in real life. Either way, Kar 98K Germans over here, well, they're starting to get shredded, especially in the little valley area over this way. You can see just a massive amount of Romans coming through. A lot of these Romans very dinged up, very damaged though, so potentially, you know, these guys are just a few shots away from death, hopefully, and the Germans can take advantage of that and get a few additional kills before they start getting flanked over there. Over this way, they are getting flanked, but they're taking care of business pretty nicely, killing these guys before they can fully death charge in. A few arrows reaching them, but again, not too much of a hassle. Going over this way, let's check on the MP40 soldiers. I believe that's these guys here. No, these are the SKS Russian soldiers, who once again are getting death charged. Where are the MP40s at? Oh, is it these guys? Uh-oh. I believe it is, and they are getting trampled currently, so that's very not good. Okay, I think the World War II soldiers are in some serious trouble. How about the T-34s over here? Are they still alive? Yes, they are. Very good. Okay, so at least we got some armor over here protecting the Japanese troops. That's good. But overall, right now, we are not doing too hot. 200,000 World War II units still remain, and 7.35 million Roman units remain. So over 2.5 million Romans have died, but that's not going to be enough to stop this advance right now. Let's watch the MP40 soldiers over here, because this is going to be a major push of the Romans, I think. Yeah, the MP40 gunners over here are pretty much kaputs. It's not looking too good for them. Over this way, though, the Brits seem to be doing all right. They're getting flanked over here, and soon they'll be getting flanked over here from the MP40 soldiers, losing their side, too, so that's going to suck. The Japanese are still doing okay over here, and we've still got these fellas. Who are these guys again? I keep forgetting. Oh, yeah, the Russian SKS troopers. They're still doing okay, too. I mean, we're definitely going to see a lot more kills. We're up to 6.5 million now, so they've killed 3.5 million Roman soldiers. So they're doing well kill-wise, but it's still probably not going to be enough to get the 10 million kills they need. 1.2 million Romans still remain. Let's watch the SKS troopers over here. Well, the Romans break through the middle line. There's still a few SKS soldiers back here, but it's not going to be enough. 5.4 million Romans remain, so almost half of their force are gone, but only 23,000 World War II soldiers remain. The Germans over here in a very similar position where they just don't have that many soldiers remaining, and those are the Russians. It looks like there is still fire coming from over here. So what do we have? Okay, actually, some of the anti-tank guns are at the top of this hill and are still firing away, which is kind of funny. And then over here we have the last of the Japanese soldiers currently defending. So Yeah, not... Ooh, lag spike. Not looking too great at the moment. Why don't we watch the Japanese soldiers? But I think we're going to have to go ahead and buff the defenders in the next battle to see if they can't get a victory here. Killing half of the enemy force really ain't bad, but obviously it's not enough to get the W. All right, 12 World War II soldiers remain. Probably glitched somewhere. Oh, no, wait. I think it's an AT gun over here. Yeah, because they're actually still firing. They're getting some kills. Let's go. All now 10 of them left alive. Rip the dream. 4.6 million Romans remain at this point in time. So, yeah, they only killed about half of them. Little over half, which ain't bad. But again, it's not going to be enough to even come close to getting the W for the defenders. So let's go ahead and seriously buff the defenses now to see if we can squeeze out a win from these guys. Instead of increasing the number of troopers on the battlefield, I decided to just purely increase their equipment. So we now have 10 stranded battleships, a certifiable fleet, as well as now there's 200 Shermans, 200 T-34s, 300 stationary flak guns, and some more AT guns as well. So really going heavy on the equipment to see if more armor plus more explosive fire is going to be enough to possibly get a World War II victory going here. I think it will certainly help, but the first portion of Shermans, I think, will still go down rather quickly. What really matters is if the battleships can survive for a decent amount of time this time and actually get some serious kills against the Roman soldiers. I think they are going to be crucial to obtaining a victory here. Right now, they're not firing at all. I hope they're not out of range. Ooh, okay, a little bit of lag, but we're fine. They might be out of range. That's sad. So the enemy is going to be safe for now from these guys, but at least they do have soldiers supporting them behind, so that's good. But for now, they're not firing at all, which really, really sucks. There's going to be a yikes. Oh, no, they are firing now. Let's go. Okay, so the enemies just needed to get a little bit closer, I guess, in order for these puppies to go ahead and spam their fire out. And that is going to be massive if they can continue to get those massive lines of HE fire just roasting the oncoming Roman soldiers in an instant. That is perfection. But they need to be able to keep up that fire and continue it for a solid amount of time. Of course, once this front line and the battleships end up dying, there's still additional armored vehicles behind that can help. But right now, these are probably our biggest hope for the future on this battlefield. We've got them spamming fire out this way now, too. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Keep it up, boys. Come on. Keep it up now. And we also, remember, have more Shermans, so they're extending almost the entirety of the shotgun line here, which is going to make the shotgun line survive a lot longer, since it was the flanks, like over here where there are no Shermans, that were dying super duper quickly. So this is very, very nice. Let's go ahead and do an overhead time lapse of the World War II battleships over there, spamming fire out, the Romans coming in, and the shotgun units and the Shermans acting as a defensive wall for the big boy World War II vehicles up front. Okay, Shermans and U.S. Army shotgunners are dead. World War II battleships still alive, though, still spamming out fire, which is great. And 8.7 million Romans still remain on the battlefield. So we're still doing pretty well for the defenders. Things can always turn, but I'm hoping these guys can continue to shred for a while now. All right, the battleships are dead. We're down to 7.8 million Romans remaining. Oh, wait, is this one still? This one might still be alive, actually. I think it is. Well, hopefully it could get a few more kills before it I think it just died. Never mind. Rip. But yeah, we still have a plethora more T-34s this time around throughout the battlefield, as well as AT guns and flak guns for the Germans. So I'm really hoping that we can see bigger kills this time around from those. And that will help to rebalance the battlefield. But I don't know, those battleships did go down a lot quicker than I really would have expected. Is this all the station? Did they not spawn in? Oh, I think the rocks deleted a ton of them, because there's only, oh my god, there's not that many of them on the battlefield. What the hell, dude? Come on! Alright, well, that's disappointing. The stationary guns are, I guess, not spawned in, most of them. There's only a few of these flak guns, so that's really obnoxious. Let's watch the cliffside, but this could be another disaster. All right, well, they're still holding, and actually they're doing much better. 5.6 million Romans, so we're almost at where we were before, and 138,000 World War II units still alive. So I think the increased armor has helped. Still not totally sure they're going to get the W here, but at the very least we're seeing a lot better results. Let's continue watching here. We'll watch these Russian SKS soldiers over this way, getting surrounded by Romans slowly but surely. Well, Roman army takes another W, this time with 3 million soldiers remaining. So, another 2 million soldiers died between these two battles. Let's do one more, increase the amount of armor again. I want to try and keep the infantry the same, though, and see if that can finally get us a victory with every World War II army against 10 million Romans. And it'll be 30 million Romans by the time we're done. That's crazy. Okay, boys, we've got 50 World War II battleships now, as well as 300 Sherman tanks, 300 T-34s, and we still only have 200 stationary flak guns. However, we've repositioned them so they'll actually spawn in, so maybe that will make a big difference. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Either way, we just need enough armor to get an additional 3 million kills. Might sound like a lot, but I feel like it really isn't. When last time around we boosted the armor by a tiny percent and they were able to get 2 million additional kills. So I really think that this is a solid possibility to finally see a victory for every World War II army here and potentially see the Romans take the L. They're charging on into so much more HE fire from both the stationary guns in the way back because they have such high range, as well as, of course, the Shermans that are right in front of them. I don't think the World War II battleships are firing just yet, but they should start fairly soon. It seems like they kind of take a little bit of time before they start to yeet their shots on in there, but I am sure it is to come. And look at this, just the sheer number of Romans spawning in from the Higgins boats over here. Death charging in, and truly they are death charging because there's very little chance that any of the first wave here will survive. I think actually a 0% chance, to be quite frank. And there we go, some of the World War II battleships begin their spam fire out here. We need these guys to be accurate. We need these guys to be firing at their highest rate and really getting a lot of kills because they, I think, could be the big difference maker in the battlefield this time around. Let's go ahead and watch the overhead time lapse. Alright, we're still holding with 7.9 million Romans remaining. There's still shotgun units even on the battlefield, which is a glorious thing to see. The battleships still firing away. I don't think any of them are dead yet, which is perfect, though they are getting charged in the middle section over this way. So I'm hoping they can kind of cut through these guys and continue to get some kills while they get charged. 7.7 million Romans now alive on the battlefield. So they are getting just sliced to ribbons, which is glorious to see. Let's keep watching here. Alright, so I think there's just a few of these World War II battleships still alive. I think some of them are just carcasses at this point. But the fact that even some are still alive with only 5.4 million Romans remaining is a very, very good sign for us. The back line's not even getting reached yet. We can see the flak guns firing away, and some of the infantry has been firing a little bit when a random Roman gets close enough, but not quite that many. So let's watch back here, as the Romans should be getting off the beaches relatively soon once they finish off the last of the World War II battleships, and they should be charging back here. 290,000 remaining World War II units, 5.3 million remaining Romans. Alright, Romans are finally reaching the gunners over here. There's still 200,000 of the gunners left, though, so that is beautiful to see. And 3.5 million Romans remaining. We could finally have our W here for the defenders. They've still got some serious work to do, but at the very same time, they've actually come a very long way this time around, and I think they might just be able to do it. Let's go ahead and watch these Lee Enfield shooters over here as the Romans kind of cross over, and we can also see the MP40 German gunners on the other side getting charged. Alright, so these British soldiers are dead, but there's still plenty more behind. Over this way, we've still got Russians firing, we've got Germans over here, and there are artillery guns still firing. This is probably the most interesting bit to me over here, is these artillery guns, the flak guns. And 93,000 defenders still remain, 2.5 million Romans. Bro, the Romans blasted through here. And they're ending up with another W. There's 2 million Romans remaining still. Bro, what? How do they keep getting away with this? I thought for sure we had a World War II victory this time, but no. My goodness. Either way, guys, that's going to be about it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.